everyone, welcome to Cybrosys Technologies. In today's video, we're going to discuss about how to set up Odoo19 development environment using PyCharm in Windows. Linux remains a preferred platform for running Odoo because of its reliability and performance, but many users are more comfortable with Windows environment. Installing Odoo19 Windows gives business and developers the opportunity to utilize its features without configuring a Linux server. This adaptability makes Odoo more approachable for wider group of users, particularly those who rely on Windows for everyday activity. So to set up Odoo19 development environment using PyCharm in Windows, we have to follow the step-by-step installation guide. The first step is to install Python. So ensure the Python version, ensure the required version of Python is installed properly, and you can just add it to the system. And if the Python is not already installed on your system, before proceeding with the installation, you can run the command Python --version in the command prompt. You'll be getting the command, you won't be getting the result simply with the Python --version. Instead, you also just need to provide the command as Python 3 --version. Okay, and here also you can see that we haven't installed the Python, so we can install the Python directly from the Python downloads. So here you can see that in this blog of Cybrosys Technologies, that is how to set up Odoo19 using Windows, you can see that we have provided the link of Python downloads. You can directly move on to it. Here you can find that we have the Python for the Windows. So in this case, when you just move on to the downloads, first we have to install the download the installer and ensure that in Odoo19 you need to have the Python 3.12 or the latest version. So currently you can see that we have the Python 3.12. So you can just move on to that. So here you can see that we have the download Python install manager. So upon clicking on this, you can directly download it, or if you want to just move with a particular version, you can also just move with that. So here you would be able to see the versions right now available. So here you have the option of setting the Python. So I would like to choose the Python 3.13.5. So let me choose it. And after choosing that, here we can see that we can just choose the Windows installer with 64-bit, which is the recommended one. So let me click on the Windows installer. So it will be downloaded over here. So once the download is completed, you can just get the installer from the downloads. So let's move on. So here you can see that currently the file is available. Just done with it. So let's move on to the folder, and upon clicking on the installer file, you can see that we'll be getting a pop-up over here, and we can just move on with the custom installation. So before moving with the custom installation, we have to enable add path to the Python execution to the path, and afterwards you can choose the custom installation. Now here we also just need to enable some of the optional features. So here you can see that the documentation pip, then TCL/TK, and we also just need to enable the Python test suite. So I'm not enabling the py launcher or for all users. So once everything is set, you can just move on with the next button, and afterwards again we just need to set some of the advanced options. So here you can see that the advanced options such as install Python 3.13 for all users, and here we just need to create a shortcut for install the application, as well as add Python to the environment variables, and pre-compile standard library. And afterwards we also just need to enable the download debugging symbols, and um, then we have the download debug binary. So ensure that you have enabled all these advanced options, and you can also choose a location to install it over here. So if you want to choose any particular location to customize the installation, you can just go ahead with that, but by default we'll be setting everything under the C drive. Now let me move on with the install, and here you can see that if you want to just make further changes in our Windows, we have to accept. So I'll be choosing the S button over here. So here you can see that the changes are taking place over here. Now let's close this and move on to the second step, that is to install the Postgres. To install the Postgres on your system, you can just move on to the official Postgres website. So to move on to that, first let's dive into the blog, and here you can see the step 2 where we have provided the link of the official website of PostgreSQL, and here we go. So you can just get the site from here itself, and here you can see that we can just download the installer from the download Postgres. So here it is recommended to install Postgres SQL version 16 or later. So here you can see that we have multiple versions available. I would like to set the version as 17.6 because we just want to get the version 16 or later. So upon clicking on the icon, you can see that it will be starting to download, and here you can see that the process has just begun. Now let's move on to the folder. So here you can see that we have to wait for a while to set everything. So once the download is completed, you can see that we'll be getting a folder icon over here. So let's move on to the folder, and again click on the installer, and upon double clicking the installer, you'll be getting a wizard that do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? Yes, we want to make. So let me choose yes. And here we just need to wait for a while. Now here you can just choose the next button. And after choosing the next button, you can specify the directory to where the Postgres SQL need to be installed. So we are just choosing the default location or the directory. Or if you want to change this, you can change that. Let me go ahead with the next button and ensure that you have selected the components such as the PostgreSQL server, pgadmin4, then the stack builder and command lines tools over here. Again, move on with next. So once it's done here, you can see that you can select a directory under which you just need to store your data. Here, I would like to choose the default directory. And again, let me move on with next. And here we have to provide um, a password for our database user. So let me set the password over here for the database user. So once you provide the password, you just need to retype the password. Again, move on with the next. And here you can see that the port number is given over here. So this is the default port number. And again, let's move on with next. And here you can see that you have to just move on with the advanced option by selecting the locale to be used by the new database cluster. So by default, it will be the locale will be default, and again move on with next. Click on next, and here we are just ready to install. So here you can see this setup is now ready to begin. So again move on with next, and here we have to wait for a while to install everything. Now click on finish button. So once everything is done, here you can see that we are just getting the welcome to uh, stack builder. So to begin, please select the installation you are installing software from the list, and your computer must be connected to the internet before proceeding that. So here you can see that we have the PostgreSQL, and once it's set, you can just move on with next. And here you can see that we are downloading the application. So under the database driver, you can click on the plus icon and enable all these fields. So tick all these, and afterwards again just move on with next. And here you can see that the download directory by default will be the C directory, and I mean C drive. Under that, we have the users and Cybrosys. Now let's move on to the next, and I mean choose next, and here you can see that we are downloading that, and we just need to wait for a while. Now, all the installation files have been now successfully installed. Now you can see that we can just click on next button to start the installation. So let's click on next to start the installation. And so again, choose the next button, and again choose next. And here we are just ready to install. So again, choose next. So afterwards, you can just click on finish. And choose next, and again go with next, next, and here we are installing the PG JDBC setup wizard, and click on finish. So here you can see that we are just getting a wizard just behind this. So again, just move on with the setup of PSQL, um, ODBC. So again, choose next button, choose next, and we need to install that. Choose the finish button. So once everything is done, you can see that the installation is completed and the installation of all packages you have selected has finished. So you can choose the finish button. And now let's dive into the blog. So the third step is to configure the pgadmin4 and PSQL. So during the Postgres installation and pgadmin4 was selected on the select components page, we have already been installed on the system. Now we just need to begin the configuration. For that, we have to launch the pgadmin4. So you can see that we have the pgadmin4. So if you have any doubt regarding the installation, you can simply move on to the blog and refer to the blog. And here you can search for pgadmin4. So let me choose a pgadmin4. So once it's been selected, here on the left hand side, we can find the object explorer. So we just need to expand the server section. Now we are waiting for the pgadmin4 to start. Now let's move on to the server side. So upon moving on to the server side here, you can see that we have to enter the password for the user Postgres to continue the server. So here, let me provide the password. and let's save the password. Okay. So once it's been set, you can click on OK. Okay. So when we just install the Postgres, we know that there we had an option to set the password. So the password you set over there have to use under the server. So you can see that we have the Postgres 17, and over here we have the server, and once we set everything, you would be able to see all the things over here. Now we have to create a login group role. To create the login group role, here we have the database. So under the database, we can find the login group roles. So let me choose the login group roles over here. So upon right click on it, you can move on with the create button. Again, choose login group role. Okay. So here we can provide the name of the login group role, and here we also just need to provide the uh, definition. So I'm going to provide the name as Odoo19. So once it's been set over here, the next step is to provide the definition. So here you can see that we have the definition. So under the definition, we can set the password. So I'm going to give the password over here. And once it's been set, you can move on to the privileges. And under the privileges, we have to enable certain privilege such as canned login, then super user, as well as the create roles, create database, and we just need to inherit the rights from the parent roles. Also, we also just need to initiate the streamlining, replication, and backups. So if you want to just get that, you can enable it, and afterwards, you can save the changes that you have made. Okay. So currently we have made all the things over here. Now the next step is that to install the C++ build tools through the Visual Studio. So here we know that the C++ is a core programming language essential for developing Windows application. So Visual Studio build tools provide a robust set of compilers, libraries, and development tool need to create desktop application background services and various components using C++. So to get started with it, we can just download the C++ build tool installer from the Visual Studio website. So in our blog, we have just provided the link of the official Visual Studio website. So let me move on to the link. Upon clicking on the link here, we can see that we have just moved over here. Now you can choose download build tool. So we just need to wait for a while. During the installation process, you can just select the just development with the C++, which we have just done right now. Now, what we have to do is you can see everything is under the process, so everything needs to be loaded, and we can just move on to the yeah folder. Now, again, let me double click on it, and we just need to make further changes in our system. So let me enable that. And once it's done, you can just provide continue with the Visual Studio installer. Now you can just choose the desktop development with C++. Afterwards, under the optionals, we just need to enable the MS VC, and we can just uncheck the Windows LAN, And here we also just need to ensure that we have enabled the C++ makes tools for Windows and the testing tools, core features, and the C++ address sanitizer. And we don't need to enable the VC package PKG package manager. So once everything is set, you can install this. So move on with the install button. So here we have all the requirement components and that will proceed to complete the installation. So after the installation finishes, you can just restart your computer to ensure all the changes or configurations take place effectively and properly. So after restarting, the fifth process is to download the Odoo19 from the GitHub. So to start with the Odoo19 from the GitHub, you can just move on to the official GitHub over here. So let's move on to official GitHub and you can set the version. So currently by default will be in Odoo19 and here you can find we have the option of code and here you can just download the GitHub file in zip. So I'll be choosing the option. So here we just need to wait for a while. You can see that the process is just began to download. And once everything is downloaded, we just need to extract everything. Now let's show this in the folder. And afterwards, here you can see that it's compressed and we have to extract all. So here we have the option to extract all. So I'm going to extract uh, it over here in the C drive. So let me extract it. So you can select a destination and extract the file. So the files will be extracted to this folder. Once the extraction is done, open PyCharm. And now we just need to open the file Odoo19. Now let's open the file and we just need to set up the Odoo19. So upon moving on to the downloads, here you can see that we have the Odoo19, the extracted file. So select the folder and click on select folder over here so that you can see that we can just open the Odoo19. So as we just trust the project, we can just settle that trust all project in the downloads folder. And let me trust and open it. Now we have to create the odoo.conf file. To create that, you can select Odoo19 and click on right button of your mouse and move on to new. Here, as we just want to create a file, choose the file option and name it as odoo.conf. So inside this, we have to place a code. Now let's move on to a blog. So in the blog here, you can see that we have a specific code that need to be provided under the conf file. So I have copied the code and let's move on to the PyCharm again and place it inside the odoo.conf. So here you can see the admin password is given. The DB host is given as localhost and the DB port is 5432 and the DB user is Odoo19. But we have provided the DB password as admin. So whatever password you provided during the creation of the Postgres, you just need to set that password over here. So once everything is completed, here you can see that here we are getting a mistake, right? Something is wrong with this path. So we just need to correct that. So here you can see add-ons path is just given in capital letter. So let me just set it as add-ons path and use the equal operator over here, and we need to provide the add-ons path. Okay, so here you can find the add-ons path. Use Control Shift C and provide the add-ons path. Okay, so once the add-ons path is set, the next step is to move on to the settings and we need to set up the interpreter. You can choose a Python over here and choose the interpreter. Now, no interpreter has been set. Click on Add Interpreter and we need to set up add local interpreter, and here we have the option to choose generate new and click on OK. So here you can see that we are just creating the virtual environment, and it will be taking a while to create. Finally, we need to edit the configuration file. So here you can just move on to the current file, and I have already created the edit configuration, that is the rent file. So upon moving on to this and clicking on edit configuration, here you can see that we have provided the name of the file, and you can see the all the things such as the script that we have provided, the interpreter that we have been set, and under this we have to set the script parameter. So while setting the script parameter, first use hyphen uh, C and provide the path, that is you can just get the path from here. So upon clicking on here, you can see that this would, not here, here, this will allow to set the path. So here you can copy the path where the Odoo19 file is stored. You can just get that, and afterwards provide the path of Odoo conf file. Okay. So once it's done, okay, let's move on. We just need to provide the working directory, and as well as the environment variable will be automatically set over here. So once everything is done, you can click on run file. Okay. Move on with the port number, localhost, and the port number. So here we have the browser. So let me open a new tab and let me provide it as localhost 8019, and upon clicking on enter, we can see that we are redirecting to the creation of the Odoo database. Here you can set the master password, and you can provide the name of your database. So afterwards, I'll be setting the email and password over here. So once it's been set, if you want to enable the demo data, you can just tick that, and let's click on create database. So we have successfully installed the Odoo19 database of the community version. If you want to just get the enterprise version, then you can add the enterprise file into the add-ons path, and upon clicking on activate button, you can download the module. And that's all for today. If you find this video informative, please do like, share, and subscribe our channel. If you want Odoo customization, Odoo implementation, and Odoo tutorial videos, feel free to contact Cybrosys. And thank you for watching the video.